Paris, 1911. The Louvre, a museum filled with some of the greatest artistic achievements in history. Tourists wonder, admiring statues, paintings, and centuries-old artifacts. But one man isn't here to admire the art. He's here to take it. His name? Vincenzo Peruggia. Profession? House painter. Ambition? Grand theft, Renaissance. Vincenzo had a plan so simple, it was almost stupid. The Louvre was closed on Monday, so he figured, why not just walk in when nobody's there and take the most famous painting in the world? So, on the morning of August 21st, 1911, he put on a white smock, like the kind museum workers wore, strolled into the Louvre, found an unlocked storage closet, and hid. No elaborate disguises, no team of professional criminals, just a dude chilling in a broom closet, waiting for the right moment. When the museum emptied out for the night, he waited. When morning came, he walked right out of the closet, casually plucked the Mona Lisa off the wall, took it to a service staircase, and disappeared. Just like that. No alarms, no elaborate heist equipment, no Mission Impossible theme playing in the background. The man just walked into the world's most prestigious museum and walked out with its most valuable painting like he was picking up dry cleaning. Now, here's where things get even dumber. Vincenzo had the Mona Lisa in his hands. He had peeled off the painting's protective frame and tucked it under his smock. And then he accidentally locked himself inside the museum. That's right. Vincenzo, art thief extraordinaire, had no way to open the locked exit door. This is where an unsuspecting hero enters the story. A Louvre plumber named Sauvé just happened to be walking past when a very sweaty, very nervous Vincenzo started banging on the door, pretending to be a frustrated worker. Vincenzo, thinking on his feet, cursed and grumbled in French, acting as if he were just another museum staffer annoyed that the door was stuck. Sauvé, being a helpful guy, grabbed his tools, jimmied open the lock, and let Vincenzo out. And just like that, Vincenzo walked out of the Louvre in broad daylight, carrying the Mona Lisa under his arm. The plumber never even realized he had just helped a man steal the most famous painting in the world. By the time the Louvre realized the Mona Lisa was missing, it was too late. And now Vincenzo Peruggia was in possession of the most famous painting in human history. In case you're still dumbfounded wondering how it could all have been so easy, that had a lot to do with the fact that, at the time, the Mona Lisa was indeed not the most valuable painting in the world. In fact, it didn't even have its own exclusive space in the Louvre. The thief stole it due to sentimental value and nationalism. And in fact, the heist is one of the reasons why the Mona Lisa is as popular as it is today. Anyway, back to the heist. The Mona Lisa may not have been the most valuable painting in the world back then, but it was still very important and very, very valuable. So what did our brave but simple thief do next? Did he sell the Mona Lisa? Did he flee the country? Did he hide it in a super secret underground vault? No, he just kept it for 2 years in his apartment, like a guy who steals office supplies from work and just leaves them in a drawer. Meanwhile, the Mona Lisa's disappearance was an international scandal. Headlines screamed about the audacity of the theft, fake reports about whereabouts. The Louvre went into full panic mode. Every major police force in Europe was on the case. They even arrested Pablo Picasso, and JP Morgan was under immense scrutiny. But Vincenzo, the man was living his best life, just casually hoarding the Mona Lisa in a wooden trunk under his bed in a tiny apartment in Paris. And here's the best part. He wasn't even a professional thief. He stole the Mona Lisa because he thought he was doing Italy a favor. Vincenzo, an Italian patriot, believed that the Mona Lisa rightfully belonged in Italy, not in a French museum. Never mind the fact that Leonardo da Vinci himself sold it to the French king over 400 years ago. Nope. In Vincenzo's mind, the painting had been stolen, so he was just taking it back. Finally, after 2 years of sleeping 6 feet above a priceless masterpiece, Vincenzo decided it was time to return it to Italy. He packed it up and traveled to Florence, where he approached an art dealer, expecting to be hailed as a hero. Instead, the dealer immediately called the police. Vincenzo was arrested on the spot. Now, normally, stealing the world's most famous painting would get you locked up for life. But Vincenzo's story somehow turned him into a national hero. Italians loved him. The press loved him. Even the judge loved him. At trial, he played the role of the patriotic thief, claiming he only wanted to return a stolen treasure to its rightful home. The court ate it up. Instead of a harsh sentence, he got just 1 year and 15 days in prison, and he was out after 7 months. That's right. You could rob a bakery and get more time in jail than the guy who stole the Mona Lisa. After his release, Vincenzo faded into history. He served in World War I, moved back to France, and lived out the rest of his days as an unremarkable man who had once, for 2 whole years, owned the Mona Lisa. The painting, of course, was returned to the Louvre, where security suddenly got a lot tighter. And Vincenzo Peruggia? He remains one of the only men in history to steal a world treasure, fail spectacularly, and still be celebrated for it. Do you think Peruggia was a national hero or a crook who should have gotten more time? Let me know in the comments. And as usual, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.